Okay, so on this video, I'm going to show you how to use panel pins. Now, what we're going to do is I've just made like a little L-shaped joint using just screws, and I'm just going to put like a face on it or a base on it, just for the sake of showing you how to use panel pins. So I'm going to use a flat piece of MDF, just a 3mm thick piece, and then I'm going to then cut it down to size. The size of the L shape, and then I'm going to put some panel glue and then panel pin it. So I'm just going to mark out how much I need. And then I'm just going to use my tri-square just to level to square it off. I'm going to place it on a scrap piece of wood. You could use the Hegner for this, but I'm going to use a scrap piece of wood and clamp it down. And I'm just going to use a tenon saw then just to cut that bit to size. So again, a slight angle on it, 3 pulls back, and then you should be able to then saw that section off. The advantage of a tenon saw is obviously it's going to do a nice straight cut. And then I'm just going to come at it from the other side then. I put a scrap piece of wood underneath it for this just because I didn't want to damage the table. So a scrap piece of wood will just help. Yeah. It's just unfortunately the sun's shining through the blinds there and making it a bit difficult to see. Okay, so there's the little piece of wood I'm going to glue and panel pin on. You can see it fits now. Okay, and this is the PVA glue that I need. So you can see here, it's a little part of PVA wood glue. I'm just going to use a little scrap piece of wood just to spread it out over the joint. You don't want to have too much, just nice evenly spread out. But you don't want too little either, you've got to kind of judge it. And then you place your piece of wood on top. Now, at this stage, I'm going to pick out some panel pins. Now, I want to make sure the panel pin is only a very small a little small panel pin, because effectively, you see, it's only a 12. I think it's a 12mm panel pin. You don't want it to be too big because you're only going through 3mm of wood and tacking it in place. And the panel pin's really just there to hold it in place whilst the glue's going off. So you know you don't need it to do too much. Just check the size. You just want one of the smaller panel pins in the box. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I use a piece of cardboard and I push the panel pin through the bit of cardboard. And because the panel pin is only very small, if I don't do this, then when I'm hitting it with the panel pin hammer, I could easily hit my thumb and my finger. So there's just a little trick that basically makes it easier. Okay, at this stage, I need to work out where I want my panel pins to go. So I want the panel pins to be in the middle of the piece of wood. So you can see from here to here is 18mm. So I want it to be going in the middle, so 9mm. If you just hold it at an angle, you can find the middle just by tilting the wood and just putting a little mark on the top. It's slightly easier and faster. I'm just going to use my tri-square just to draw a straight line down so that it's all set to 9mm the whole time. So what I'm doing now is I set up the set square along that 9mm marking, and then I'm just going to draw a line straight away across, so I know that I can put the panel pins effectively anywhere along that line that I want to. And now I'm going to do the same on the other side. So mark 9mm on the other piece, and then I'm going to use the tri-square again to mark that position. Okay, so should have a line across there and a line across there, both at 9mm, that I know that I can put the panel pins in. The only thing I need to be careful of is I've got a screw just here and it's going in that direction. And if I put the panel pin in somewhere here, it could hit the screw. So you have to be careful where you put your panel pins so it doesn't hit the screws in this case. Okay, so you can see that they've got the 9mm markings, and I said about the screw here. That somewhere along here there's a screw, and if I put the panel pin, say there, it could easily hit into it. I want to make sure this looks neat, even though I could hide these panel pins with paint or whatever I wanted to. I'm going to mark off where I want to put them. So I'm just doing it a centimetre in, just to make sure it's connected properly. So I'm putting 3 panel pins. I could have done all this before I glued it. Okay, so I'm going to put one a bit deeper so it's away from the screw, and I'm putting one in that position. So basically 3 panel pins. Okay, so before I put the panel pin into a bit of cardboard, and then I sort of hold it in place, and then if I push down, if I hit it down with the panel pin hammer, and then I take away the cardboard, I can then tap it for the remainder of the way. So you'll see again, I'm going to put another panel pin in, so push it through the cardboard, not all the way, just push it in a little way through the cardboard, line it up where you want it to be, tap it halfway in, remove the cardboard, and then tap it the remainder of the way. Okay, and there you go. You can see that they're slightly off actually there, but it's close enough to the middle. That'll be fine. Slightly raised there. You can use a center punch or like a little device that can knock these in a bit deeper so that they're lying perfectly level with it. But that's effectively how you tack the panel pin a sheet piece of MDF or another material onto a piece of wood. Okay, thank you for watching.